What do you want for Christmas, little boy?
Cairo in a race there, wins it, gets it, in the clear, shoots, and he scores!
My mind had gone blank. I was blowing it.
That's gonna do it! It's a shutout!
What was I doing?
Wake up, stupid! Wake up! No!
No, I want an official red undercover nation 200 jet rifle.
In a way, the New York Rangers already did shoot their eye out. And little scene from my favorite Christmas movie, A Christmas Story, because that's still just so emblematic of the way things are going right now, guys. Welcome back, everybody, to Big Apple Hockey. I, of course, am your host, Marc Williams, who just another low point for the New York Rangers. But fortunately, I am joined by a man who's equally as miserable right now with his team, Mr. Anthony LaRocco from the Hockey News. Yeah.
I just suddenly turned into Jim Behringer. Yes, that is true, Mark. But honestly, I have the Buffalo Bills right now. Josh Allen, MVP, best quarterback in football. So he's making the Bills and Allen are making me forget about the Islanders' woes, and I'm all aboard the Buffalo Bills train right now, baby. Let's go Buffalo.
Anthony, I got to tell you, even though I keep saying they might choke, that you're deserving of a Super Bowl, so I hope they make it. And, of course, joining us from Full Press NHL, Mr. Jim Behringer.
What's going on, guys? Always a pleasure to be here, talk some hockey with you guys. The last time I was here, it was a very eventful day if you were a New York Rangers fan.
I think that's a bit of an understatement. When is Duke going to? Oh, when's Anthony Duclair coming back to the lineup, Anthony?
He's going to be returning next game, I believe. The Islanders waived Grant Hutton today to make room on the roster for Duclair. So looks like he will be back next game, and the Islanders will finally be back to their full lineup.
Well, that league's worst ranked power play could really use his help right now. So let's get to the A block. We are going to be discussing the Islanders in a minute, but the A story everywhere around the NHL has got to be the demise of the New York Rangers. Once again, everybody, Big Apple Hockey trucker hats and shirts are available. Click the link below. And the A block is powered by Seat Geek. Use the promo code Big Apple Hockey for $20 off your first order. But this was an eventful week for the New York Rangers. Well, for starters, on Sunday, Coach Peter Laviolette puts Chris Kreider on the fourth line. Mika Zibanejad on the third line. Healthy scratches Kaapo Kakko. Kakko on his scratch said, haven't been on the ice too much when opponents score a goal. And I've not been the worst guy, but that was me out of the lineup. Yikes. Then last night, they got shut out by the Nashville Predators. They've lost 3 straight and only won 1 game in the last 2 weeks. So that's going to be really much a season killer. Jim, we know it's been debunked by you, but like I said, there were reports of friction. There was that closed door meeting that didn't happen, right?
Well, I mean, they did have a closed door meeting. The players did have a meeting. The thing I'm debunking is Sean Avery's not going to be the next general manager of the New York
Oh, sorry, that one.
Yeah. Now, look, as I wrote in my article yesterday on Full Press Hockey, do I think now this might be a little touchy for some people, but soft mutiny, there's probably a soft mutiny going on in quotes because it feels like the players, there's definitely something going on between some of the players and the general managers. Let's be honest here, right? Like you can clearly see from the beginning of the season and in the offseason, they didn't like the way things were handled with Barclay Goodrow. Clearly, they didn't like the way things were handled with Jacob Trouba. Guess what? Grow up, right? Mm-hmm. Grow up and put on your pants and play hockey. Like, seriously. Because guess what? It doesn't matter in Vegas. It doesn't matter in Tampa. It doesn't matter in Florida. It doesn't matter anywhere, right? It's a business. This isn't all friends hockey. You can't finish your career with all your buddies and all that stuff. Guess what? Go play hockey. Put on your big boy pants. Go play hockey. You don't have to like your general manager. Heck, most people don't, but that's okay. Go do your job because I've seen a lot better efforts in open hockey and in beer league hockey than what I've been watching from the New York Rangers. And that's not a slight on these guys are NHL players, But let me tell you something. I agree with what Kakko said. He's not the worst player, and he's not the reason the Rangers stink. And he's not the reason that the Rangers are struggling. He's actually played really well this year, right? I mean, there's been times that, you know, he doesn't look the greatest, but he's found his role as a third-line center, and he's a middle six forward now. That's who he is. But why? No one's putting their job on the line to say, hey, Chris Drury should be going to Peter Laviolette and say, hey, you need to go scratch one of our top guys. Like, you need to. John McClain did it with New Jersey, with Ilya Kovalchuk. It was gone by December, but you know what? At least he tried, and he did it.
Yep.
And they need to do something else with New York because Kaapo's not the reason. And, yeah, we'll get to him later on, but he's gonna be fine if he does get traded.
Yeah, because Anthony, that brings me to this. Just what is next for the Rangers?
Right now I see a team that quit. I see a team that's gutless, and I frankly see a team that is disinterested. The back check effort by Mika Zibanejad on that goal last night.
Yep.
Was just what was he doing? It was just he basically just glided and just watched. That can't happen at National Hockey League level. That can't happen at a men's league level. So we've talked about it. He's been brutal all year long. I don't know about you guys. I can't think of a guy who has fallen off as hard as he has. I mean, this was a guy that was, you know, a legitimate 1C. I think there were a lot of people that said, is he more of a 2C? But no, I think for a while he was playing at a legitimately 1C level. And this year he looks like he doesn't even belong playing in the ECHL. He's just been really bad, slow, unconditioned. I could go on and on about him, but I think he is one of the biggest problems on this hockey team right now. He's a leader. He's supposed to be providing, you know, at least 70 plus points. He's not doing any of that. Chris Kreider. Let's talk about Chris Kreider. Chris Kreider has 1 assist. Again, another player that looks disengaged. You know, for a guy who has a pretty fast straightaway speed, he looks lumbering and slow. Not really all that physical. So those two right now are the culprits. And, you know, when you also want to talk about players on the Rangers, and you have guys like this on every team where, like, you know, fans, you have like maybe a couple players that if fans don't like to criticize just because they're beloved and fan favorites. But I'm seeing a lot of ire directed at Adam Fox now too these days. Adam Fox looks, I mean, he doesn't look good defensively. I mean, this is a guy that I think we briefly touched on it last week. He uses his smarts and his high hockey IQ to counteract the fact that he's really not the fastest skater. He was great at closing gaps, but he just doesn't really look very good at all in his own zone. And to further that, he has no goals on the year, or 1 goal? Does Adam Fox?
1 in an empty net.
So yeah, I mean, he needs to be a lot better. I mean, you can go on and on. I mean, like, you know, Lafreniere, since he got paid, Lafreniere hasn't been the best. Granted, he's been significantly better than some of other of these guys I'm mentioning. But my point is, aside from Will Cooley, Brett Berard, you know, there haven't been too many guys that are bringing it night in and night out and playing on a consistent level. And it's just so baffling to me that this group can just quit, because that's what it seems like they've done. And, you know, Jim touched on it. There was the rumors of the players had that meeting and they're not a fan of Chris Drury and how he handled everything. But let's just pretend for a second that's true. And they are all pissed off about that. And others have on our show have said it, and comments on X had said it. You're a professional athlete. If you're going to sit there and cry and basically quit because you weren't happy of how they moved Barclay Goodrow and Jacob Trouba, like, sorry, this is the NHL. It's a business. When you're playing on a bloated contract and you're not performing up to the level that you're supposed to, you get moved. So, I mean, it's just the fact that these guys, if they're truly upset about stuff like this, then, I think that just furthers the point of this core needs to just be blown up to the studs. Mark, I mentioned this in our group text. Like, I'm a fan of having a close-knit locker room, right? I think that's important. I think teams coming together, that's how you win. But, I mean, if you seriously have a whole locker room of guys that are essentially crying because they don't like Chris Drury and his methods and what they did to their friends, then, I mean, I'm sorry. They all need to go, every single one of them. And I know that's obviously not realistic, but I think that, actually Sean said it right here. I mean, this team is done. Again, I know when you look at the standings, you see the point deficit, 3 points, and, the teams that are occupying those spots like Ottawa and Pittsburgh, they have a lot of flaws too, and there is a lot of hockey left, but I'm not seeing a team that is even competing hard enough to go on a run. I don't know what's going to take. I don't know if it's, Laviolette falling on the sword, although I think a lot of us can agree that I don't think he's the problem. I think that would be a mistake. And also, too, if Drury did fire Laviolette, he's next, because at this point, another coach, he would be the next on the chopping block. And I would think he's smart enough to realize that if he did that, that's next in line. So maybe he holds off and maybe he looks to make a trade after the holiday freeze. But for me, Mark, before I kind of hand it over to you, I don't know what you have to do. Find a way to make Mika Zibanejad waive his no movement clause. They got to make a move that is going to send some sort of message or actually, have any effect of their play on the ice. Because I said it when it happened. Look, Jacob Trouba, yes, he needed to go. But Jacob Trouba is a defensive defenseman. He wasn't affecting the Rangers' ability to win every night. He wasn't the reason why they were playing as bad as they are. So, yes, did he need to go for salary cap reasons? Yes. But I said it when it happened. Moving Jacob Trouba wasn't going to be a magic pill to fix the Rangers, because he was just a teeny part of their problem. And they have much bigger problems that are still on the team. And Chris Drury took the easy way out by moving Trouba. Now, normally you'd scratch your head and be like, moving your captain's not easy. That takes courage to do. It's a complicated situation. And yes, that's correct 99% of the time. But in this instance for the Rangers, everyone knew he needed to go since last year. So everyone speculated if there was a guy to go, it was him. So that's why I said it was the easy way out by moving Trouba. The path that would have really sent shockwaves is moving a guy like Chris Kreider, that people would have been like, wow, Drury is really shaking things up. But no, he did the predictable thing, just to, it didn't accomplish anything is what I'm saying. The Rangers are still the Rangers with Trouba or without Trouba. They just have more cap space for next year. But Mark, I can keep talking, so I'm going to hand it over to you.
Yeah, I'm ready to chomp at the bit because I got no Philk, so somebody's got the angry Ranger fan. So, okay, I'll put it to you this way. They're done. Season's over. Start ripping it down. Now, I've been in favor of tearing it down for a while. I kept on saying, Def Leppard, great song, tear it down. There you go. But instead, what we got is, you know what? Let's see what the next couple games are. We talked about it when they traded Trouba. They needed to go 3-1. They didn't. They went 2-2. They barely got past it. And yeah, -17. Jason's right. Mika, whoever the Mika Zibanejad is that's on the ice right now, that ain't the guy that we remember a few years back, but he is still the power play merchant that we never bothered looking at. So, and once that power play goes down, and once again, look at that line of demarcation. Look at 10-24. Ironically enough, the game I went to with my now wife where we held up a sign saying, hey, next stop, we're getting married. Yeah, that game ended the Rangers season. So if you want to blame me for that, go right ahead. Not the lovely Maria Williams, because it wasn't her fault. But let's get to this. This team, now that they have They can't score 5-on-5. They can't score on the power play. Their goals for in the last since November 25th, they have 27 goals for. That is ridiculous. And that puts them at nearly the bottom of the NHL. They're 5th from the bottom. So let's get back to what they got going on now. You look at that schedule that I just popped up a second ago. Ooh. This was Murderer's Row. Man. This is Murderer's Row. They're not going to win another game until 2025. Ranger Central said it best on his postgame show. Who's going to win a game next? The New York Giants or the New York Rangers? I can't believe the words are coming out of my mouth, but it's definitely the Giants. And there's a chance it could be a tie. They're not beating Florida. They're not beating New Jersey. This team is passionless. They don't give a crap about anything. Tear it down to the studs. Chris Kreider, why aren't you the captain? You should have stepped up a while ago. You should have been the captain in 2019. But instead, you weren't. You end up with Jacob Trouba, who then gave that ridiculous comment about, hey, getting fired from MSG is a rite of passage. Well, when you come in and do a crap job, you get fired. That's how simple that is. So let's get through that. Just he was miffed about them trying to trade him, and he flexed his muscle. Hey, good for you. Come in and do your job. This team could have won a Stanley Cup. Yeah. They started out like a team that wanted to win a Stanley Cup. After October 24th, forget it. So all of them, every one of them. Kreider, he's got no trade protection, not a no trade clause, so you can get rid of him. And I'm the president of the Chris Kreider fan club, guys. I had the guy's jersey before he even played a regular season game. My friend Timmy said, Chris Kreider, you're going to love him. I did. You know what? Objectively speaking, you got to move on. That's for starters. And I've said you got to move. You got to do that, especially with Alexei Lafreniere's contract kicking in next year. You got to use that kid a little bit more. So let's get him. The first things first, you have to approach Artemi Panarin. I hate saying it right now, guys. You got to approach Panarin and go, you have a year and a half left on your deal. We're not winning a cup. Where do you want to go? And that's how you can facilitate a rebuild. Because the other way you could have done it was trade your prima donna goaltender. Sorry, guys. Look at the stats. I've been fighting with everybody on Twitter about this. Oh, well, of course the save percentage goes down when the defense is lax. So the answer is pay the goalie more. So it's great. It's absolutely awesome. I'm going to go see the Rangers and the Islanders in Vegas in 3 weeks. They're both going to get mauled. They're going to get mauled like they're like a bear was just let out and they had stakes hanging on for necklaces. So good. At least I'm going to have a fun time. As Sean's saying right here, somehow get Mika to waive his no trade clause, because that's the third thing. Once you deal Panarin, once you deal Kreider, then you can look over Mika and go, where do you want to go? And we can help try to make that happen, because you can't buy him out. Sorry about everybody saying, first off, you can't buy him out. The contract's buyout proof. And secondly, he's still valuable. There's still value. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you get any value out of Adam Fox, because thank God the Rangers covered worst in the NHL. They're the worst team in the NHL over the last month. And they're not going to win. They're not going to win. They're not going to win tomorrow in Dallas. They're not going to win Sunday versus Carolina. They're not going to win Monday versus New Jersey. And right now, Jack Hughes is licking his chops. So, I mean, that's so great. Jim's like, relax. That pose you got right there, Jim.
This one? You like this pose?
Feeling right now. They're just looking at the Rangers and going, yep, can't wait to take you guys on. It'll be like running. They'll run roughshod right through the Rangers. And I'd love to say that something's going to inspire this team. What's going to inspire this team? Nothing has. Putting your name out in trade rumors. Getting rid of the captain to make you all go, wait a minute, what am I doing to help this team? And it's because I'll tell you one thing, one more hot take before we move on to the Islanders, because we got a lot we got to cover today. And we got a lot of fun we're going to have. But the number one person I'm disappointed in right now, never mind Kreider, Igor, Mika, Lafreniere. I'm disappointed in Vinny Trocheck. Where is fighting him? Vinny Trocheck, who is he was a warrior so often. Like, I mean, that giveaway I played for you with the Blues that Ryan Lindgren had, that was ridiculous too. Speaking about guys that are warriors, but Vinny Trocheck, and come on, and let's go with that your favorite term from Jack Capuano. Chris Capuano was a lefty for the Brewers and the Mets. But where's the battle level? Where's the battle level?
Not there.
Jack Capuano line. Where's the battle level? Only 2 points above the Blue Jackets. Yeah, let that sink in. And
Mark, where's this? Where's the heart? Where's the effort? It's not there. I mean, like I said before, beer league guys play harder than that. Right? Guys in open hockey try harder than this. Like Anthony said it before. Dude, Mika was out to lunch. He was going for a skate. That's a public skate what he did. That's inexcusable. That's a benching in other places. Right? Like this is why you need somebody in that room, but we've said it for how many episodes now? It's in the room. The problem is in the room.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't going to get solved with Trouba because you got everybody else because they chose sides. And if this is the way you want to go, then start bringing those kids in. Let's see what we got down in Hartford. Let's see who can come up and start playing and give an effort. Because look, Ryan Lindgren, teams are going to call about him. If teams are, he's a UFA, why not, right? If you're going to tear it down, why not? A good rental piece, he can go someplace. And by the way, I did it the other day because I just was like, wait a minute. Because you were like, oh, everybody's available. You see everybody's available. Go look at some of the contracts that the Rangers have and see when that no trade protection actually kicks in, because Lafreniere's no trade protection doesn't kick in until next season.
Yeah. Now that's something that actually you could, and by the way, we talked about this with some of the, as a matter of fact, earlier with Shesterkin before we got on, because his trade protection doesn't kick in until next year, but you got these extensions that are on the books.
Yeah.
And you'd worry about players. That's, I think, would affect business. And players look over and go, if I sign an extension, my contract's worth nothing. So I think that would affect business. You'd have to worry about, do I want to sign with the New York Rangers? Everybody else saying what happened with Trouba and everything else. Oh, a player going to want to play for the Rangers? Yes. Because if Mark Messier is still worshipped as a god around here.
It's still New York. It's still an original six city. That's the point. Like, it's still Manhattan. It's still a city. Like, the Ranger name still has value around the league because it's an original six team. Go look at, real quick, because I know we got to move to Islanders and talk, but go look what Patrick Laine is doing for what Montreal is right now. You don't think the agents want to go play with that guy?
Yeah. And we're going to talk more about Patrick Laine in a minute.
One last thing with the Rangers here is when you look at what Drury's next move is going to be, and, I talked about taking the easy way out. While he should move as a Benajad or Kreider, et cetera, the next trade he's going to move is Kakko. I mean, Kakko's going to be the next guy. His name's out there. He only makes $2.5 million a year. So he'll be easy to move. But, I mean, that's not really the guy that needs to move. They need to move a Chris Kreider. He's 33. He's getting older. Move him when he still has value. That's a move that could start like a retool on the fly. Moving Kakko it's not.
What do you get for him? What are you getting for him?
Chris Kreider, you could get a good package for. You're talking about a net front player that's still at the top of his game with another year on his deal. You can get something for him.
Well, I was more talking about the Kakko trade package. That is but Kreider, absolutely, I agree 100%. You're going to get something for him, something for that can absolutely make an impact in your lineup now. Yeah,
and again, as Matt's saying, he actually said it with Ranger Central and Evan the other night. If that's the move, what are you doing here? And by the way, Anthony, thanks for jumping in because I wanted to give you one last word on this. But so you read my mind. We got to get to the Islanders. We're going to be talking more about the Rangers throughout the show, guys, because it's the number one topic around the NHL. But Anthony, the Islanders last week, basically they played 3 games, split with the Blackhawks. They were shut out by Carolina. Ooh, Vinny Nochek. That one's an awful one. Now, significantly, I didn't see the Islander game. I watched the recap the next morning, and Patrick Roy ripped the team the night before, and they almost blew a 5-1 lead in the third period. Granted, the last goal was like 15 seconds remaining.
Mhm.
So, but he leaned into him, and then they lose to the Blackhawks in the final minute. Anthony, what's your thoughts on the Islanders' week, especially and then on the shutout last night?
What it's been all year, just up and down. Some games it looks like, oh, this team can go on a real run here when they get healthy, and then other nights it's like they look terrible. The game against the Blackhawks, I mean, the Rangers lost to the Blackhawks. You know how that feels when you lose to a team like that. But that was a game, even though they were away, they shouldn't have lost. And there was kind of like a up and down game. It was like losing by one, tied, and then unfortunately in the last minute, Connor Bedard takes a shot, and Sorokin kind of inadvertently knocked it in when he went to go lay back on it.
Yeah.
And anytime you lose a game with a minute left in regulation or less, that really, really stings. So that's a game that they lost 2 points. They lost 1 point and then maybe two, obviously. But the point is they should have got at least one, and they didn't get anything. And that, again, that hurts. For a team that's 3 points out of playoff spot, you get one, two out. It's one game. So, and then the Carolina game, that was brutal last night. They didn't look good at all. But I wasn't surprised. I know they beat Carolina at home pretty handily, not that long ago. But Carolina is a team that gives the Islanders fits, especially in Carolina. So, like last night going into that game, I had very little expectation that the Islanders were going to win. And the Hurricanes skated circles around them like they do many teams, to be honest. But, so that game didn't surprise me. Obviously, the loss in Chicago, that's a game that they should have won. But, this team is a flawed team like a lot of these other bubble teams are. They like I said, some nights they play like they could be a legitimate playoff team. Some nights they play like they're a lottery team. And I mean, that's the Islanders' MO ever since really Trotz left. They've been kind of like an up and down team that needs to catch fire and go on a run the last month of the season to make the playoffs like they've done the last 2 years. And eventually that luck or that heater that you have to go on at the end of the year to get in isn't going to happen. And right now, even though it's only 3 points, the way they're playing, it's trending in that direction again. And their whole point this year was to give themselves a cushion, and they didn't need to go on that run to get in the playoffs. So the only positive I guess we could speak about is which me and Jim have, and which was stay in the hunt until you get healthy, and they have started to get healthy. Barzal's been back for 2 games now. Pellick's been back for 2 games. Duclair looks to be returning next game, so they're going to have all their guys back. And hopefully, they can start to gel. But the other issue though is even though Barzal and Pellick are back and Duclair shortly, these guys missed 8 weeks. So it's hard to shake off rust like that when you've been out for so long. Come back in the lineup and kind of pick up where you left off. So I think even though they're all back and you've already seen it in a small sample size, Barzal hasn't really been close to the level he's at. He's still getting his legs. Granted, he had an upper body injury, but still, when you miss that much time, it still affects your legs. Adam Pellick had a broken jaw, so I'm sure there's still some discomfort there. Getting used to playing with a full face shield. So these guys are going to take some time to really get back in a rhythm. And unfortunately for the Islanders, they need them to really kind of get acclimated quickly so they can start to play, on a percentage-based hockey that will get you into the playoffs, 600, 750. They need to go on that type of run to try to get some separation from some of these other teams. And lastly, Ilya Sorokin looked absolutely fabulous to start the year. I know there was this back surgery comment. The beginning of the year, you couldn't even tell that he was playing with a back that he had problems with. But now, as Mr. James Spence saying, he's starting to get overworked, and it's showing. 4 games in a row, he's allowed 4 goals. And I get Patrick Waugh. Marcus Hogberg hasn't played in an NHL game in a while because after he left Ottawa, he was playing overseas. But I mean, we don't know when Varlamov's going to be back, and Sorokin looks like he's starting to wear down a little bit again. So I think Waugh needs to start Hogberg and give Sorokin a little bit of a break.
Yeah, and Mr. Jamspan is right about that one, and it's hard to believe. By the way, Gel, probably the best song from the band Collective Soul. Jim, the Islanders, can they gel in time?
Look, I mean, they're still in it, right? Like they're still right in that mix because, as Anthony said, a lot of these teams, you look at these teams in a wild card mix, right? Like let's not look at the top of the Metro, right? Let's just look at that wild card mix right now. They've got flawed teams. I mean, Pittsburgh, yeah, all right, they're right there right now, but does anybody really believes they're going to hang on to this thing? Like they're there, but again, it's you look at the Islanders and what they've done, right? Like you said, Barzal's back. But he's got to find his legs. Pellick's got to find his legs. Duclair's going to have to find his legs. And everybody talks about, and I was listening to comments last night during the game, and let's be honest, PNC Arena is very tough to play in, no matter who you are. But for the Islanders, it's a very tough building to play in, especially against Carolina. New Jersey has the same problems playing there. They're starting to figure it out, but they still have problems there. But I heard John Butchergross make a comment, say, oh, well, once this team is healthy, they're going to start to figure it out. I'm like, yeah, and get offense. I'm like, yeah, but was Duclair really the guy that was going to bring them offense? Like, I liked the ad. I understood the ad. But when you have a lot of streaky players on the team, where's the offense coming from? And that was my biggest concern always with this Islanders team is, where can they find offense? How are they going to get it? Sorokin's done his job, but like you said, he's been overworked. You got to start playing your backup goalie. And I think, Varlamov not being there definitely hurts because now Sorokin's going out there every night, playing, and he may need a break. And look, that was just bad luck against Chicago on Sunday night. I watched the whole game. I thought they deserved a better fate against Chicago Blackhawks. I thought that game should have got to overtime, and maybe they figure out a way to get like a steal point in Chicago. They probably should have, just because I believe they won on the island the other game when they had played earlier.
Yeah, because they held on to the lead.
They had played on the island. They figured out a way to get it done. And that was a game Patrick Waugh was not happy about.
Yeah,
right? Like they're up 5-1 and you almost lose. So I mean that to me is telling when the coach comes out and it's like, yeah, Sorokin's not a guy, he's a gentleman. If I was in between the pipes, I'd be breaking sticks. Yeah, but that's who he is. Like that's who Waugh was. He's a winner. But look, the Islanders, if they can manage, again, the break's coming up. You got a couple of more games before the holiday break. Maybe get a nice reset there, quick reset. But sometimes that's all you need is a quick reset for a team like this. But as Anthony pointed out, it's every year with this team. It's like, okay, they're going to go on a run at the end, and then they find their way in because somebody in front of them just stumbles along the way, and they get in. Maybe this might not be the year because the division's better and the rest of the conference is better. And if Ottawa's going to play like this and have goaltending like they're getting from Ullmark, it's going to be tough to sneak in the playoffs. So to me, I agree. I think you got to play Hogberg. I think he's got to get a look. We know what this kid can do. We've seen him play in Ottawa. Yeah, Ottawa's a bad team, but you got an NHL goalie. If you don't believe he's the guy, then you got to go find somebody and bring in a backup if Varlamov's not going to be available.
Yeah, and I'm going to be really quick on this, guys, because I thought it was actually the right decision for Waugh to kind of rip them in a win. But once you play that card, then you can't rip them in a loss. And the one question I really have about the game, I think it was Sunday with Chicago, was that Siplikov goalie interference? Because Soderblom was out of the net. Siplikov ends up hitting his stick. He can't move his arm like this. And then Dobbs is able to squeak the puck underneath him. Anthony?
You thought that goal stood. What do you?
Yeah, it stood. But was it interference? I know Jim's shaking his head no right now.
I didn't think it was interference. No,
and I kind of agree with you because he's out of the crease.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's Puckdoku supposed to go?
Yeah, he's out of the crease, not in the paint.
Even though they do have that, rule where you could say you still can't interfere with them. I mean, Pyotr Kochetkov could run to the center ice because the way he plays is too aggressive. But it's just the Islanders still. I there's questions I have about them, and I'm going to save that for what the next segment is because we're going to do the Christmas naughty or nice list with a bunch of guys. So let's get to that right now with Big Apple Hockey's impulsive reactions.
Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Actually, let me get that banner out of there first. Now I can do that.
Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Doctor, you're wanted on the phone.
Chill.
Simmer down now.
I'm freaking out!
Because I love whenever we get to do this, guys. We get to actually, like, do some themes. And again, it's the impulsive reactions, NHL, naughty or nice. So I'm going to name off a bunch of players, one from every division, and also the two local teams. And let's start with the one we've been talking about before, Patrick Roy as the Islanders head coach. He's only 6 games above 500, 32, 26, and 12. Anthony, is Patrick Roy naughty or nice for the Islanders?
So I'm assuming you mean if it's nice, it means he's done a good job. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say nice. I mean, look, he took over a team that was in disarray last January. It's hard to come in, and we talked about it when it happened. It's hard to come into a team at that point in the season in January, not have enough time to really overhaul a system. They did get into the playoffs. Kind of what he said a couple of times too. He's working with the roster he's been given with. Lou Lamoriello is general manager. He's doing the best with what he has. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's a fiery guy. I think he demands respect. He has that winning record. And again, it's not his fault that, this is the roster that he has. So I have no issues with Patrick Roy as a head coach. I think he's done a good job. And, I don't think anybody expected the Islanders to be a President's Trophy winning team. So it's not like he's underachieving there. So, yeah, I think Patrick Roy is on the nice list here.
Jim?
I'm going to put him on the nice list too. Like, I agree. I think what Anthony said, like, look, it's a roster he's been given, right? Like, if you want to put somebody on the naughty list, it might be Lou, just because of the roster construction of this team and guys that probably should have been moved on from and players that he should have traded. But again, Lou believes his team is in it until they're not. And even when they're not, he still believes in the roster because that's who he is. Let's be honest. But, look, Patrick is a fiery coach. He was always a fiery player. Sometimes you need that. Again, the roster itself is flawed, but I think he's been a good fit. The only thing is, can they really, fix this third period? Like, if he can really get this third period fixed, then the Islanders are going to be a real playoff team. But look, did anybody really believe that they were going to be a playoff team this year? That's just my question.
Guys, we're going naughty here. I'm not a big Patrick Roy fan. I don't know what his signature is with his team. I don't know are they an offensive team? Are they a team that relies on their defense? Their power play is worse than the league. Their penalty kill can't stop anything. But look at Lane Lambert. That was the same way under Lane Lambert. So how do you blame Roy for that about their power play and penalty kill when it was the same with the previous coach? Well, because then I wouldn't throw my Hall of Fame general manager under the bus either, saying, "Well, this is what I got. What do you want me to do?" It's sort of like that's just something I can't wrap my head around it. And trust me, if you ask me who's the greatest goalie of all time, if you said Patrick Roy, I'm not arguing with you. You could say Patrick Roy, you could say Dominic Hasek, Ken Dryden, Jacques Plante. I don't want to say Marty Brodeur, but I know Jim could possibly do that. But it's one of those things. I have a tremendous amount of respect for this man. I think he is among. Yeah. Don't worry, we'll get to the Rangers guy in a minute. We'll get to the Rangers guy in a second, Gene. But I just wish I could look at the Islanders and go, that's what they're doing. And I know what they are like. They haven't had that real solid identity since Barry Trotz left. Although he is definitely on the naughty list right now as well. But he tried. All right. For the New York Rangers, let's get to their guy. Alexei Lafreniere. Jim, is he on the naughty or nice list with his 9 goals and 21 points, but his minus 14 rating?
The last part to me is concerning. -14 in the clubhouse. I like the kid. I like the player. I like what he's done. but he's on a naughty list because of that -14. Like, I mean, sorry. I mean, and even Anthony, we said it earlier in the A block, right? Ever since he's got that contract extension and signed that deal, he hasn't been the same player. Like, he was playing for something early in the season, and that line was clicking. I mean, the whole team is not really good, and the whole team should be on the naughty list, and I agree with the comment. But he has not played to what he's going to get starting July 1st for next season. And, yeah, 9 goals, 12 assists, 21 points. Okay, that's all well and good. I think a lot of people expected a little bit more from him this season, considering the season he had last year and what he did in the playoffs. And, again, everybody points to playoffs because of how far they went. But I think a lot of people expected him to take an even bigger step this year. The whole team hasn't, but he hasn't really either.
Anthony?
Yeah, I'm gonna go naughty. I think he's a guy that one of the guys that the Rangers should keep and build around. Unless of course you can, get a Brady Tkachuk, then you move him. But with that said, he had the career year last year of 57 points, which everyone was like, oh, he's arrived. But for a first overall pick, 57 points isn't going to cut the mustard. And you look at it this year he's on pace for 56 points. So essentially the same kind of year. I mean, not a bad, good player, but for a guy of his draft stature and the year he had last year, you were hoping to see him take that next level to 70, 80 points. So, being that he's only on pace for 56, one less than last year, I can only answer this as naughty.
Guys, I'm going with a couple comments right here, but I'm about to say naughty as well because, again, look, I want to say, over here, there was take it easy on Laffy. Don't want to make Johnny upset, which I was looking to get Johnny on the show too, but it couldn't I couldn't make that happen today. But he's still producing. He's being outproduced by Will Cooley. He's not the only Ranger, but that's okay. Because since he signed that extension, that was October 24th. Oh, I'm sorry. He signed it on the 25th. So let me take away a goal. 5 goals, 9 assists, 14 points, and he's a -14. So he's still the same thing. Jim, I'd love to have a -14 on my golf score, but
yeah, I know what I too. But you don't want to be clubhouse leader on a hockey team with that.
The worst part is he's not the clubhouse leader because he still plays on a team with Mika Zibanejad. Anyway, let's go over to your beat, Jim, and let's talk about Dawson Mercer. 7 goals, 9 assists, 16 points. He's got a +8 rating. So, I mean, that's not going to get you. That's going to actually make you miss the cut at the Masters. So let me start with you. Dawson Mercer, is he naughty or nice this year?
I think some people, when they see this, they might be like, oh, come on, he's not living up to his contract. I'm going to put him on the nice list for what he brings to this team. He, penalty killer, plays in all situations. He's picking up his game. Yes, the contract, $4 million might be a lot, but for what he brings to this team and the versatility that he has for this team, I like what he's doing, right? Like, yeah, the points and the goals and everything probably should be a little bit higher. They thought he could be the answer in the top 6. He probably isn't. He's probably going to be that third-line guy. But, again, penalty kill. He can create shorthanded goals. He can be used on the second-unit power play. He's good 5-on-5. He's good defensively in his own zone. That's what you want from a player. And he understands what his role is, right? I think a lot of people expected more because of his first 2 seasons in the league. They can still get there. Again, this is year 1 of a 3-year extension at $4 million. And there's still a lot of hockey left. But recently he stepped up. And when Tom Fitzgerald spoke the other day, he even said, and he wasn't going to call out anybody by name, but he said there's some of our guys that can step up a little bit. I'm not going to say Mercer was in the category of that, but, we can see where he's going. And to me, I think he has. And, again, +8 looks good because he's a defensive forward. So I'm putting him on the nice list.
Yeah, I'm giving him a provisional nice. I wouldn't kill him too much. I think he's playing a good all-around game. So it's not like he's the problem. Sort of a lot like there was a New York Ranger that kind of said that same sentence just before. Oh, I'm not exactly the problem. I like what Mercer brings. And if you have to complain about Dawson Mercer, that's way down the list on the Devils. So
Exactly.
It's not really that much of a problem. It's not like you're complaining about Hughes or Heischer or Bratt or Timo Meyer right now, or Andre
Dougie
Palat's
Hamilton. You can go down a list of guys.
Yeah.
You can go throw down a list of guys that are ahead of him on a team that, you could point to. But there really isn't really a lot of guys on the team right now that you could point to as guys not pulling their weight. I mean, yeah, everybody wants to point to Meyer and his goals and this and that. Everybody expects that because of his salary and all that. That's all well and good. But the Devils are focused more on playing defense this year, and everybody knows the offense will come. And that's why I put Mercer on the nice list, just because of his all-around game.
Anthony, Mercer, naughty or nice? Oh, Anthony, you're muted. Hold on.
I think he's on pace for like 39 points, which would be a little more than last year. I mean, last year we only had 33. So, I mean, I feel like this one can go either way, but I feel like he fits the role the Devils are using him in right now. I feel like they don't necessarily need him to be, an elite scorer at this point with their guys that are really going. So, and he does bring a lot of speed to the game too. So I'll go nice, but I also wouldn't, necessarily disagree with anybody if they tried to say naughty either, because I do think, despite that, I think he is capable of producing more, and he's just not right now. So,
yeah. Well, speaking about a guy that's capable of producing more, and a lot of people kind of riding him a little bit this year. Connor Bedard, 7 goals on the season and 19 assists, 26 points for the Chicago Blackhawks. Anthony, is Connor Bedard naughty or nice?
This is a guy that has just tons of skill. You want to see him take the next step into being an upper echelon scorer. The Blackhawks, they are more talented last year. They tried to insulate him. They brought in guys like Tyler Bertuzzi, Foligno, Teravainen they brought back. So he's not like he's around nobody. I'm actually gonna go naughty. I do expect more from him than 26 points. I would think that this is a guy that I put up there with some of the more elite players in the league, and I think he has that next gear, and he just hasn't hit it right now. And I'm gonna be wrong. I think he will get there. But if I was a Blackhawks fan, I'd want to see him doing a little bit more.
Jim?
Yeah, it could go either way with Bedard just because of, where he is, his situation and everything. But I kind of have to agree with Anthony. I'm going to put him on the naughty list because you expect more out of a number one, a guy that was supposed to be a McDavid type, right? Everybody said generational. Like, this is the guy everybody tanked for. This is the guy everybody wanted. The Blackhawks ended up getting him. And granted, he did have a slow start to his rookie year too, but he ended up turning it on. And again, we've talked about it, like sophomore slumps. It does happen. McKinnon's gone through it. But even then, people would have probably said, hey, McKinnon, naughty list, like what happened in his rookie year when anyone called her, like all that. So I think a lot of people expect more. He even expects more. And I think the coaching changes really helped his game. Like, let's be honest, I think ever since they switched coaches, his game is picked up. The Blackhawks game is picked up. And I think, Richardson, as much as he's well-liked around the league, is probably better off as an assistant. I'm just not sure that mix was going to work. Just a line shuffling way too much. And I think now you're seeing the best Connor Bedard. And I think he's going to pick up his pace similar to last year. But right now, through this many games into the season, I think people expected more points. I think a lot of people expected to be, he was going to take off. And, hey, here we go. Connor Bedard is going to be here. He's going to be like Connor McDavid. He's going to be up there, Art Ross, all that stuff. And it just hasn't happened.
Yeah, I was actually still leaning towards nice. I will go naughty on this one, guys. And again, it's a provisional naughty. That's it. It's he's picked it up. Look, he's also 19 years old. We can't forget about that. And that's why I'm willing to lean towards nice. The 19 assists are still great. He's playing for a thin organization, But then again, he was able to get the game-winning assist over to Taylor Hall when he played the Rangers and the game-winning goal against the Islanders. So there you go. He killed New York hockey. So for that, I guess we will put him on the naughty list. Sort of like a Santa Claus in Futurama. Everything's naughty right now for me. Anyway, let's go to a guy. This is almost a layup, guys. Patrick Laine, 6 goals in 7 games this season, a hat trick last night against the Buffalo Sabres. I'm pretty sure all 3 of us can get a hat trick against the Buffalo Sabres right now. I'll start this one off. I'll make it easy because it's getting the hoop. It's a absolute layup. Nice. Gotta like what you're seeing out of him right now. Although, and again, it's a hat trick and is almost a goal a game, but 3 goals were in 1 game. So it's one way of looking at it. Mr. LaRocco.
Yeah, I mean, this is no question. It's nice. I mean, this is a guy that, had a bad injury, came back, and has 6 goals in 7 games. I mean, what else could you say? Look at some of the goals, the shot he's posting, that release. I mean, yeah, there's nothing else to say. It's certainly a layup here in the naughty or nice segment.
Jim, want to continue the layup?
Easy layup. Like, that's easy money right there, right? 6 goals, 7 games for this guy. I mean, this is what they wanted when they traded for him. Like, they traded for him. Everybody's like, oh, he can come in, power play. This is what he's going to do. I mean, look at some of the goals he scored against Buffalo. Granted, it's Buffalo, but the goalie for Buffalo was over, and he still put it top corner.
Yeah.
Like, that was a ridiculous shot. He can still do it, and that's why he was named to Team Finland. That's
Mr. Mark Williams.
That's it. Mark Williams came up with that.
Yeah.
But,
Well, it was an easy one. I needed to get somebody that was going to be on the nice list just because we all went naughty.
Look,
but yeah, Jim, that shot's back. That shot's back.
He won a Rocket. Yeah. There's a reason he did it in Winnipeg. There was a reason there was all this talk about Laine, Matthews, all that stuff. There's a reason why he's on Team Finland for 4 Nation. He's going to play power play with that shot. Like, this guy is, you know what? This guy is he's really good, and he's a great fit for Montreal. He's beloved. And free agents are going to come there and want to go play with this guy. And you know what? If he didn't get hurt to start the year, God knows how many goals he's going to have right now. If he has 6 and 7 games coming off an injury, and if he started the year healthy, whew.
Yeah, that's incredible. I just got to put this up real quick. This is for editing purposes, so that way I could get the real spelling to Connor Bedard in there. My mistake. Let's flip it over to a team. The Colorado Avalanche, 36 points. Right now, they got the second wild card. They're 5-5 in their last 10, guys. Anthony, naughty or nice on the Avalanche?
I mean, despite everything they've gone through this year with the injuries, I mean, Jonathan Drouin, Miles Wood, Arturi Lehkonen, Devin Taves was out for a little bit. I mean, they had so many injuries. Then they were dealing with the Sieves in goal with Gorgiev. They were missing Valerie Nikushkin for a while too, till suspension. So they've dealt with so much despite all that, bad goaltending and actually overhauling their goaltending. The 2 goalies they have now aren't even the 2 goalies they had on the opening night roster. And despite all that, they're tied for a wild card spot. I'm gonna say nice. I think any other team could have folded if they had gone through the amount of adversaries and if they'd gone through as much adversity.
Yes.
So yeah, the Avs are certainly nice with everything they've gone through so far.
Jim?
Yeah, I'm gonna go nice here. I'm gonna say nice with Colorado as much as I would like to say naughty, but they've played really well recently. Defensively, they've shaped up everything that was ailing them at the beginning of the year. I mean, they're starting to lock it down a lot better. Still a little bit of sloppiness there in their own zone, but they're playing a lot better. I mean, look, they shut out the Devils, and Scott Woodward, former Devils goalie, shut out the Devils, but they played a really good defensive game. Mackenzie Blackwood, look, I like Blackwood. I'm still not sold on, him being the guy that could carry them to a Stanley Cup. But like I've said before, if they're going to play defense like they did against New Jersey, they're going to a lot of games. When you have Mikko Rantanen and you have Nathan McKinnon on your team, then yeah, you're going to win a lot of hockey games. and they got everybody. Like, similar to what we said about the Islanders, this team found a way to tread water and sometimes be in the top of the division, sometimes in and out. But they've survived the injuries. Ross Colton was out a little bit too. Like, this team survived so much. Now, if they get everybody back and they play good D and they get the goaltending, this team is going to be one of those top teams in the Central again.
And you know what? It's a hat trick of nice again. And I got to hand it to the Avalanche because I didn't know that they were going to, or that Joe Sakic was going to be this aggressive. You knew that they were trying to find the answer in net, but I figured he might ride it out a little bit longer with Georgiev. No, he didn't. Who would have thought, Jim? He would have looked back 4 years and go, you know what? That Devils tandem was pretty good.
Yeah, I know, right? Like the 2019-20 Devils tandem of Mackenzie Blackwood and Scott Wedgwood. Let's try to ride that in Colorado now.
And as we went through the Wood puns last week, that the Avalanche could have a slogan, "We got Wood," and then throw on their Miles Wood as well. But you know, I really. You just got to like the way the Avalanche are kind of turned the corner on this. The Stars are leading the way. Mikko Rantanen, he wants to get paid.
Yes,
and maybe he's worth $11.5 million. I know a player from a different part of the nation that's not worth $11.5 million. I'll give you a hint. Is his name rhymes with
New York, right? He plays in New York, right?
He plays in New York. Yeah. But there's going to be, and Mikko Rantanen, I still think the guy's probably one of the most underrated players in the league.
100%.
Oh my goodness, nobody still talks about him.
No, I think he's going to get 14 if he gets to open market. He might get 15.
Yeah, that's why, Jim, look, with all due respect, and I need to pose this question to you out here, but there are reporters saying that Igor Shesterkin turned down or left money on the table. Please, can you enlighten me what team was giving him more than 11.5?
I mean, if we think about it, if you look around who would have given it to him, I mean, Anthony and I talked about this. You know, Toronto might have done it. You know, Toronto could have given him the money if guys came off the books. Like, that's a team that could have done it. I think, I'm going to be honest, I think the Rangers probably would have given him more money. You know, I'm going to be like honest. Like, I think they could have done it if he really pushed because they were going to give him whatever they wanted. Like, I'm just going to be real with everybody. I think they would have given him whatever he wanted. And you know, if you look around who needed goaltending, I mean, a lot of tandems right now, right? Like, you know, Washington has their guys. Tampa has their guys. Florida has their guys. LA got their guys. Maybe, you know, if they didn't really feel Demko was a guy, but Demko's due up in Vancouver. You know, maybe Calgary, but they have Wolf. So, and he's not going to get paid $13 million to be a backup to Dustin Wolf in Calgary. So, not too many teams out there. I don't even know if Colorado would have done it. Like, as much as they needed goaltending. So there would only be a couple teams that have the kind of big bucks that could have done it. And, you know, we already saw what Montreal did with Carey Price. I don't know if they're going to make that mistake. So, and they have Sam Montembeault. So, again, not a lot of teams would have paid him that much money. I think he probably just left it a lot on the table with the Rangers. And, look, I think Mikko Rantanen is going to get 14 because the cap's going up.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's going to say, well, how can you pay more than McKinnon? Guess what? New world we're living in. Cap's going up. Mm-hmm. That's the way it is going to be. Can't have an internal salary cap anymore. Can't.
Yeah. You're right.
You know what, though? It's insanity for me to pay a goaltender that only plays 58 games.
So I have a question for you, like real quick. I have a question because I've heard this debate all the time, and it just popped into my head. Because we pay these star players, the forwards and the defensemen this much. But we always say goaltending ain't worth that kind of money.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just...
Yeah. Because here's the thing. A great goaltender can come out of nowhere. Look, as much as you need goaltending to be the basis, look, because I know it's an argument that could go both ways.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to Bar Talk in about 1 second. Jim, do we have you much longer?
Yeah, we can do bar talk. I'm good for
Okay.
bar talk.
Well,
Yeah,
let me just finish this one point. I understand goaltending could go both ways. As much as you need a steady goaltender, and I'll rip Tristan Jarry to no end because he's not the goaltender that makes the save. But on the other hand, the New York Islanders literally took Robin Lehner off the scrap heap, put a good defense in front of him, and he rewarded them by being a Vezina Trophy finalist. Like Robin Lehner still talks about his time as a New York Islander was one of the greatest times of his life. And
all
you know
love
what?
to Robert Leonard, by the way. All love. To
Yeah.
Yeah, all love to him. And look, he's more of an inspirational story now. And and if he didn't come to the island, who knows? Maybe his life is completely different. So that's for one thing. But man, that you could, as much as you need that franchise goaltender, you also need stable goaltending, and it's putting all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah. No, okay, I just want to throw it out there.
Yeah. I mean, and look, it's a double-edged sword with that. And unfortunately, I still think we're going to be doing this show 6 years from now, and we're going to go, so Igor doesn't have a cup.
No, I get it. Just throwing it out there, that's all.
Not a problem. All right. Let's get a quick message from DraftKings, everybody, and then let's get to Bar Talk. Hockey fans light the lamp this winter with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. New customers can bet just $5 pregame moneyline on any NHL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. If that wasn't enough excitement, you can turn small bets into bigger payouts with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets like which team will win, how many goals will be scored, and more for your shot at an even bigger payout. Download the DraftKings Sports app now. Use promo code THPN. Bet $5 on any NHL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Only at the DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN.
Shot. This is the easiest I've ever had to answer.
I'm going to say beer. I can't even begin to describe.
I'm actually going to go crazy. I'm going to buy everybody around on this one. And guys, before I say welcome back to Big Apple Hockey's Bar Talk, I just want to highlight this one again. I played it during the, I highlighted it before. Franks, thank you, because this is the reason why we do this. We try to be the best hockey show anywhere, and it's even better now that we've expanded our roster and we got Jim to come in every now and again as well. But guys, welcome back to Big Apple Hockey's Bar Talk, where we gauge our confidence on these NHL topics based on our choice to drink. So confident that you're buying around. So have a beer. Oh dear God, I need a shot. Play along down in the comments below. And suggest a Bar Talk comment, by the way. Anthony, go ahead, review one at the end. We'll do ours first. So we'll pick one. We're just going to pick one today. All right. Let's start with the guy that's in trade rumors right now. Kakko is in trade rumors after his healthy scratch on Sunday. Anthony, Kakko will flourish elsewhere.
So I think if he's traded, I think he'll perform a little better than he's done with the Rangers. But I still don't think he's going to reach the level of that of a guy who was selected second overall. So I think that window's closed. Like, I don't think he's going to be a 60-point player ever. So for that, I'll say beer. While I do think he could benefit from a change of scenery and a fresh start, and he will improve, I just don't think it's going to be like astronomical. So I'll say beer.
Jim?
Give me a round on this. I think there's more potential here than what meets the eye. Yes, he's found his role in New York as a third line center, and he protects the puck so well, and he's good on the boards and all that stuff. Now he just needs the right coach to believe in him and give him an opportunity to play top six forward. And I think he can do that someplace else. I think if reports coming out last night that Minnesota's interested, I know another guy that went to Minnesota and took off. A guy named Nito Niederreiter, and he's become a really, really, really good NHL player. He could flourish in Calgary. I think he would be good in Nashville. I think there's untapped potential with this kid, and he's just not been used the right way in New York. And I think he will absolutely flourish someplace else.
I'm buying around on this. I can't buy around on it enough. Look, never mind. You hit the nail on the head. There's untapped potential. And the one thing we need to get, he's going to have a chip on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to have an FU. I'm going to be there. That team that he goes to is going to play him on the first and the second line. He's going to be defensively responsible. Every coach loves that. And you know what? He'll probably get power play time, flourish right there. Oh, every Ranger fan talks about how they should have never traded Buchnevich, even though they were trying to bring along a first and a second overall pick and such. But, you know, the Rangers have wasted a first and a second overall pick, and Buchnevich has thrived in St. Louis. I can see the same for Kakko very easily. Let's go right back to Anthony again, because Ilya Sorokin's played. He's 1-2 in his last 3 games, .840 save percentage, 4 goals allowed in each game. I think we said before he's played the last 9 games consecutively, which means Patrick Waugh needs to start Marcus Hogberg. I know we discussed in the A block, but Anthony.
Yeah, this is a round. You know, Sorokin was fantastic. You know, for the large portion of the season, but I think it's starting to wear on him a little bit. You know, right now Varlamov, I don't think he's skating yet. So especially with like the Islanders are off until Saturday, and then they have the Christmas break. So honestly, maybe Waugh won't do it, being that Sorokin's going to get some time off here. But I don't think it could hurt to play, you know, Hogberg in the last game before the break against Toronto. Just give Ilya some extra rest. I think he needs it. And also too, you'll get to see what Hogberg could do at the NHL level in a start. So I think it makes sense to do it. You know, you see what you have. You give Sorokin a break, breather, recharge the batteries. I think it's a smart move.
Jim?
Yeah, I'm going around here too. I agree with what Anthony said. I think you have to start playing your backup goalie. Look, we talked about it last year. I'm going to bring in Tampa for an example. Last year, I mean, obviously they didn't have Vasilevsky to start the year, but you know, Jonas Johansson was a guy that came in and played, right? You know, even Eric Comrie up in Winnipeg, they're giving him spot starts. You have to give your backup goalie a chance to play. You have to give your number one guy a rest. It's not like, you know, Varlamov's not there, so they can't go back and forth, right? Like, they have to give Sorokin time off. Your number one goalie, guys don't play 76 games anymore. It just doesn't happen, right? You know, there's only a handful of guys. And even down in Dallas, Jake Ottinger gets the odd night off, right? So you have to give your starting goaltender a break. And the more rest he gets, the better he's going to be. And you can clearly see he's being worn down into the ground, because some of the goals that are just going in are un-Sorokin-like to what we saw at the beginning of the year. See what you have in Hogberg, and I said it before in the A block, I'll say it again. If you don't believe he's the guy, you got to start him to find out, and if he doesn't prove it to you, then you need to go get somebody.
And real quick, I'm going to agree. Saturday's not the last game. They play Buffalo on the 23rd.
So, yeah,
thanks, Anthony.
Right there against Buffalo.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly where I was going to go with, because I think I'm going to make it a hat trick and buy around on this one, guys, because that's the game that they should have played him in, Anthony. Problem is, I don't see Patrick Waugh doing it. I see Patrick Waugh going, you know what? We had 3 days off. He could play Toronto, take a day off, and then play against Buffalo. If you actually played Sorokin versus Toronto, gave him off Monday night, that would give him a full week to recover and maybe recharge his batteries a little bit more. 100% with you, Anthony. They have to rest him. They have to rest him. And let's look at a team that's been playing really well as of late and just outside wildcard number 2. We're going to talk about the team that's in wildcard number 2 as well in a moment. But the Pittsburgh Penguins, 7-2-1 in their last 10, and they're 1 point out of wildcard 2. It's hard to believe that this team that they looked absolutely cooked. And instead, Pittsburgh will be a wild card team. What do you think, Jim?
I'm going to go with the beer. They have the potential to be a wild card team, but they also have a potential to go completely opposite direction like we saw at the beginning of the year. Look, they're being patient. They've made a couple of moves. I still think they have to retool this roster. I think this is a mirage, and Kyle Dubas should not change from the plan, what's going on in Pittsburgh. You need to get younger. You need to get players to set up the future. It's all well and good at what they're doing. Also look at some of the teams that they beat, too. I'm just, go through that schedule. Not the murderer's row of top teams in the National Hockey League. But they beat some good teams. Don't get me wrong.
The one last night was a good team.
Yes, it was. Very good team in LA. But I still am not sold on Pittsburgh Penguins being a wild card team. But there's potential to be there. That's why I want beer.
Oh, Anthony?
I'm actually going to go shot. They're on a good stretch right now, 7-2-1. But we've seen this before with them. It's like, oh, the Penguins dead. Then they come out, they play pretty good hockey, and then they fold again in February or March. So I don't see it with them. I think they'll come back down to earth. I think this is going to be the third year now in a row they missed the playoffs. So I'll stick with that. Shot.
I really want to go shot, Anthony. There's one name that makes me go, I have to say beer, and it's Sidney Crosby. Anything is possible when you got Sidney Crosby on your team. And, he hasn't really done that, put the team on my back door thing. If you remember that guy from John Madden's about like 20 years ago. But he hasn't decided to just go, hey, let me throw the team on my back and go. Sort of like he did after the Jake Gensel trade last year. So let's see if that happens. But you look at the rest of that roster and the way that everything has gone so far. But then again, who knows? Maybe they could put it together. If the Rangers could fall apart as much as they did, maybe Pittsburgh could put it together. But let's go to the team that's in wildcard 2. Who is it? I can't believe I'm saying these words. I said, let me know when Ottawa is a competent team, please. They've won 4 straight. That puts them in wildcard 2. Yes, it says the mediocrity of the Eastern Conference. Jim, I'm going to go right back to you. Ottawa has finally arrived.
Round. Yes, the Ottawa Senators have finally arrived. Everybody's been waiting for it, right? Is this the year the Ottawa? Guess what? This is the year the Ottawa Senators have finally arrived. It took some time, but they were patient. Steve Stamkos was patient. New coach, Travis Green, and unlike the Buffalo Sabres, the Detroit Red Wings, they have the right mix in that room. They have the right leadership in that room. And oh, by the way, they have a goaltender. They also have a good backup goaltender, too. But they have a goaltender, Linus Ullmark. Nice contract. I'm just going to go on that train, too. 4 years, $8.5 million. That's a nice contract for a guy that won a Vezina Trophy. So playing with that. But no, Ullmark's finally understood what the defensive role is. Team's buying in. I'm going to be honest, though. As much as they've arrived, big stretch here for this team because 9 games on the road, started off strong in Seattle, but they got that World Juniors come through Ottawa, so they got a 9-game road trip. But to me, this team has really shown they're going to be that team in the Eastern Conference. I think they've separated themselves from the Detroit's and Buffalo mix.
Anthony, has Ottawa finally arrived?
I'm gonna go beer. They've won 4 in a row. They're playing really well right now, but it's a short sample size. Don't forget, maybe 2 weeks ago, I think only Montreal was worse than them in the East before they started to play better. So yeah, while I like the way they're playing now, Ullmark is playing really good. I'm a big fan of Drake Batherson. Josh Norris looks like that shoulder's finally healthy. You got Chuck Stutzla. They got good pieces, but again, similar to Pittsburgh, I'm not completely sold on it. If next 10 games go by and they're 7-3, and they're really humming, then yeah, I'll be like, all right, maybe this is the year they get into the playoffs. But right now, I'm going to stay on the conservative side, and I'm going to say beer.
I gotta go beer. I don't know yet. And Travis Green as a coach, you every time you thought this was going to be the stop, or it looked like Vancouver, it looked like they were going to be this great team on the Travis Green. and then he ended up getting fired, especially after the year they beat St. Louis when they were defending Cup champs in the bubble. But then you thought maybe he would be the coach of New Jersey, and then they passed on him for Sheldon Keefe, and then they didn't start out great right now. I just can't fully believe in Ottawa. I can't put my faith in them yet. Also, but it really doesn't matter because, as Larry Brooks said, they're trading Brady Tkachuk to the Rangers. So what's the point, right, guys? Yeah. So I think I said beer on that. So
yes, you did. You did say
you
beer.
did.
I did say beer.
I guess I'm more on Ottawa's high side but then again, I know some guys on that team, so
yeah,
I want them to do well.
Well, yeah, and every Ranger fan probably wants to do badly, so somehow they can, or every Islander fan for that matter. So that way they go.
Hey,
well, because you wanted to. Well, in the case of the two New York teams, they're like, "Can you trade us Shaden Pinto, please? It would be all right. We'll take him on."
I don't know.
Yeah, but by the way, here's a funny part: Ottawa since November 25th has allowed 23 goals in that span. That is best for fourth in the league. Do you know what team is number one? Well, there it is. Well, yeah, number one since November 25th. It's the Utah Hockey Club, which still doesn't have a name. Let's call them the Yeti, guys. We know you're going to do it. 6-1-2 in that span.
Yeah.
Just do
just do it. Do it. Utah Hockey Club is poised to make a run. Guys, I'll start this off. Look, you're plus 14. I'm gonna go with a round on this. And it's because, look, I understand that I had my faith in them when they were in Arizona, and I thought they're gonna make a jump. I thought they were gonna look like they're gonna be a playoff team or a playoff contender earlier on. It is a tough division for them to try to make the playoffs in, because after all, you got to deal with, speaking about Murderers Row, the Wild, the Stars, the Avalanche, and the Jets. But and now you got the Blues. They're coming back to earth, but they're plus 3 in goal differential. By the way, Ottawa on the season, they're a plus 7. So that's another, those are two good numbers. But that division is going to be so tough. I do think Utah, if you keep the goals down, I think Utah is going to be a good team right in there. So I said round. I'm going to stick with that. Anthony?
So they're 3 points behind Calgary right now for the last wild card spot. You mentioned the division they're in. I don't see them catching, any of Minnesota or Dallas, Winnipeg. So I think they're really going to be relegated to a wild card spot. It comes down to, are they better than Calgary? Are they better than Colorado? Are they better than Vancouver? I don't know. I think they have a great future. They got a lot of young talent, obviously. Gunther and Logan Cooley, and then Clayton Keller's been there for a while, and Schmaltz. So they got good pieces. When you say run, I mean, yes, I think they can compete for a wild card spot. So if that's what you mean, I guess I could say round, but I don't know if I would say round if you would ask the question. They're going to be a playoff team.
All right. So it's just a beer that they're making a run.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Because kind of had the different sections in there.
Yeah.
Jim, what do you think? Is Utah going to make a little winning streak right here?
The way they're playing, I like the way they're playing. I like the composite of that team. Ryan Smith, the owner. You want to have success in your first year in the league, right? Like this, there's a lot of talent on there. Keller, Cooley, Sergachev on the back end. They have good goaltending with Vejmelka. Got a good head coach. Andre Tournier's put things together with this team. They have the potential to make the run. We're in the holiday spirits, right? Anthony makes a great point, but I'm going to go with you on this. I think round. I think there's potential there. They can make a round and they can make a run too, because let's be honest. Do we really know what Vancouver is? Like Demko, yeah, he's back, but they're looking to change things up. Calgary, they're hanging on by points percentage and losses over, Colorado Avalanche. And like I said, if Colorado can play defense in front of the goaltending, yeah, they're going to make the playoffs, but Utah's nipping at their heels, and they always play teams tough, and they're always pesky. And they have a good team, and everybody saw firsthand when they came through New York City. They're a very, very good team. So, yeah, they can make a run.
Yeah, I said earlier in the season, we'll see when the I might as well just say when the shit hits the fan. When they deal with adversity, whether or not they can overcome it, and they seem to be coming out of it. They went through that little stretch. All right, the last one, guys. Let's look over to the Pacific Division, and there's the LA Kings, 7-2-1, 79 goals against right now. That's second in the NHL, and they came into Madison Square Garden and absolutely waxed the New York Rangers. That was just one of the worst games I've ever seen. And the one thing you should do in that, you should definitely pay your goaltender more money after that, because that's definitely what you should do. That'll be that, guys. You get used to that joke. That's going to be around for a long time.
I know it's coming.
But they haven't had a good track record in the playoffs, and with Edmonton starting to get it together, Jim, LA will win a playoff series this year.
They better. They better win a playoff series. Yes, they'll win a playoff series. I'm going round here. I like the way this team is composed. I've watched them play a lot this year. I saw them in New Jersey. Yes, they might have not won the game. They got away from Kings hockey, but they bounced back right away. Yeah, tough game in Pittsburgh. But you know what? They're playing the right way. They're doing good things under Jim Hiller. Quentin Byfield's finding his game. Yeah, they moved him back to center. But if he doesn't pick it up, I think they're going to move him back to the wing on the top line. Darcy Kemper's playing well. Big Save Dave is there too. So this Kings team, if they don't run into Edmonton Oilers, they're winning a playoff series this year. Because if they don't, they might be looking for a new general manager.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing how the Kings can have two goalies with better numbers than the guy that's making $900 million in New York. Anthony. Oh, wait, sorry. That was a round, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I think I did put it up. Anthony.
I'm gonna say shot.
Okay.
Because I think, if the season ended today, they would play the Oilers in the first round. And I think the Oilers have their number. I think the Oilers would beat them. LA is a good team. I just think in that perpetual matchup they're stuck in with the Pacific Division with the Oilers, with them usually as 2-3. Despite the Kings having a better defense and playing a more sound style defensive hockey, I just think Draisaitl and McDavid are too explosive for him. And I think that the Oilers would beat them. I think if the LA played somebody else in the first round, I would like LA's chances better against Vegas than I would the Oilers. I just think they match up better. I just don't like how they match up against the Oilers. I think the Oilers would take care of them.
I'm going to go with Jim's words. They better, but I'm only going to go to beer. And that's the only thing I can do for that. They better win. And like you said, Anthony, there's a good chance they might get the Oilers. Well, it depends. If Vegas decides to take their second half, we're going to put everybody on IR. So that way we could try to be over the cap in the playoffs philosophy. But it's, if it's the Oilers, oh my goodness, that would be the third time these teams played. Maybe fourth consecutive time these teams played in the first round.
4 years in a row, they would have played, in the playoffs.
And fourth consecutive time with the fourth different starting goaltender in game one. So, I mean, it's hard to believe, but no, they better. Hands down, you guys got that one right. They better. All right. And
round. Absolutely.
Anthony,
Round,
see if you can see if
100%.
Anthony pick a bar talk that came out of the comments. But Josh Allen is more talented than the whole Sabres team. All right, so Jim, you're saying round on this one, right?
Round, 100% round. 100% easy layup round. Josh Allen, I agree, MVP, National Football League too. He's entire team. He's better than the entire Sabres team, and I bet you if you put him on skates, he'll will the Sabres to a victory.
Yeah.
All right, wait a minute. Anthony, go ahead. You first.
Yeah, this is round. He's just a beast. He's just an athlete. Yeah, Jim's right. You put him on skates, he's probably standing in front of the net, and he's probably banging home power play goals on rebounds. But in all seriousness, I mean, this guy is just he's a beast. He's an animal. He's the NFL MVP. Proud that he's the quarterback of my favorite team. I mean, his work against the Rams and the Lions the last 2 weeks, rushing touchdowns, receiving the game of 49ers, receiving touchdowns. He's just a monster. And it's funny, Kevin Adams, when he had that Sabres press conference, when he talked about we don't have the palm trees, when he talked about Buffalo sports, he's like, we don't have he said something along the facts like, look what Josh Allen has done for the Bills. Like, winning cures all. And that's what the Sabres need. But I mean, Josh Allen is a winner, and because of him, he has made the Buffalo Bills an attraction.
Believe it or not, guys, I am going to go beer on this one. And I know everybody's going to hey, you know what, Jim? This is my opinion on it.
No,
Josh Allen at 6'5" can look over and see two Sabres that can look at him and call him shorty, because Tage Thompson is taller and Owen Power is taller than him. Now, is he definitely there? Yeah, of course he's there. Josh Allen's amazing. And you know what? Even though I think Buffalo is going to choke in the playoffs because they just always do, I hope they don't for Anthony.
Well, hold on.
Hope they don't.
You can't, because they lose to a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, you can't call that choking. Choking would be them losing in the wild card round.
Well, at home versus the Cincinnati Bengals.
I mean, the Bengals are a good team. That's not choking.
That's
the Bengals are a good football team.
Yeah, but you go to that, and that's just that game. I remember that game 2 years ago. It was not a good game.
No, it wasn't. They played bad, but I wouldn't say that means they choke because they lost to the Bengals.
Well, they almost lost, but they almost lost to they almost lost to the Dolphins that year with Skylar Thompson at quarterback. So, all right. So we did have this bar talk topic that we threw out there, guys. Who wins? Well, actually, to make it a bar talk, it would have to be like one of these is going to win first. I'll make it simple, Jim. The Giants will win before the Islanders or the Rangers.
Jim just pieced out.
Oh, Jim just pieced out? All right. Anthony, here we go.
Nah, I don't think the Giants are winning another game. I don't.
They get the Falcons with Michael Penix.
Yeah, but I still think the Falcons. The Falcons? They were 6-7, right? And then did they win the other night? They played. They lost the other night, and they benched Kirk Cousins because of it. So they're 6. Because I think they're 6-8 then.
I'd have to go look that up. Yeah.
I mean, they're significantly better than the Giants, despite that. I don't know. I think the Falcons are going to beat the Giants. So I think the answer to that is the Rangers or Islanders. I mean, I don't know who.
All right. So if I did the Giants, so I did the Giants are going to win. So you're going beer on this one, then it might be the Islanders.
No, I said the Giants aren't winning.
Oh, the Giants are winning.
No, I said the Giants aren't beating.
But I said the Giants are going to win, so it's shot, right?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Yep.
By the way, Anthony, I'm going to go shot too, because the answer is it's the Islanders. The Islanders are going to win Monday against the Sabres. And
Marc, you lied to me. He said the Falcons beat the Raiders. They didn't lose.
Oh no. Well, you know what? I can't remember because I was working that night and all my attention was out front. But they're not a big believer in them right now. Oh, we got Jim back. So let's get him back in there. Hey, Jim.
Hey guys, sorry about that. Just had a quick surge in my house.
Oh, no problem. Jim, just a quick question for you. So the Giants will win a game before the Islanders and the Rangers.
No chance. Not happening.
All right, so shot as well. All right.
Shot, absolutely, 100%. That's not happening. 0 chance that's happening. And finally, somebody actually referenced it today on SportsCenter that they said the Rangers have a victory more recent at MetLife Stadium than the Giants do. So do the Devils, by the way. Both teams have. So, I mean, yeah, Giants, they stink. Like, I mean, they suck too, but I mean,
I think it's more New York teams have scored goals than the Giants have scored touchdowns at MetLife in the last. That's just unbelievable.
Who are the Giants drafting? Shedeur Sanders?
I think they should take Travis Hunter, but that's just me.
Yeah, I'm not going to buy the belief in or the hype on Sanders just yet, but I got to brush up on all my college football because I'm too busy trying to study as much hockey as I can.
What about Cam Ward?
No chance. No, take Travis Hunter because he plays both ways. You can protect him the first year as a cornerback, and then you throw packages him as a wide receiver. Then the following year's draft class, they're better quarterbacks that are going to come out that can get him the ball, and then you just unleash him both ways. That's just me.
Arch Manning?
You know they're going to tank for Arch Manning.
Yeah. It's funny, by the way, Cam Ward, he's one of my favorite trivia questions. I gave you the difficult one. The 3 last names that correspond for a Super Bowl MVP and Conn Smythe Trophy winner. So obviously Cam Ward and his Super Bowl MVP is Hines Ward. And the other 2 last names, Williams. Thank God, Justin and Doug Williams, because Justin Williams did it against the Rangers. And, of course, Billy and Emmett Smith. So that's the other ones. Jim, so we're actually up to name this player. So I didn't think you were staying this long.
No, I got to bail. I just wanted to come back in.
All right.
Because I lost the surge, but I actually have to do run. I just want to come back. I just want to come back on after the surge and say my goodbyes to everybody and appreciate everybody's time for having me on. But I do have to run, but it's always a pleasure to be on with you boys.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Jim.
Absolutely.
We're probably going to try to do a special show on Monday if you're around.
Yeah, I should be around. Just let me know time, and I should be around.
Later, Jim.
Okay.
Later, boys.
Talk to you later.
Peace.
All right. Anthony, so we are going to do the name this player. We'll do it with the ranking up top like this so you get a better view.
Okay.
And we're going to start because these are all the guys I had for last week. We're going to start with a player that began his career with the Chicago Blackhawks. He only played a total of 5 games with the Blackhawks, but he would then go on to play with the New York Rangers in 2009, 2010. The next year, he would go to the New York Islanders, get 53 points. Then he would have 67 points with the Islanders before signing with the Colorado Avalanche, have a 43-point season, a 33-point season, and then going back to Montreal, where he is a native of Quebec, and then playing with the Toronto Maple Leafs before stopping with the New Jersey Devils and finishing with the Nashville Predators. Anthony, name this player.
I can't see. Can you any way you can make the stats? I can't
I'll make it a little bit bigger. See if I could do that. He had 53 points with the Islanders and 67 points, by the way.
Parento?
P.A. Parento is the answer. That's why I try to describe all these to you, so that way you could try to see him.
All right, you left out Colorado. That's what confused me a little bit.
Oh, no, I said Colorado.
You did? Oh,
yeah, 2 years with Colorado.
I don't think you said that.
Nope. Well, but that's also why I need to make sure I'm being more descriptive. Let's go to a better known player, because we talk about players that were shocking that they made Team USA's roster. But how about this guy? He was a bit of a shock when he made Team USA's roster. This guy started out his career with the New Jersey Devils, and he continued being a very steady player all the way to 2010, 2011 when he joined the Pittsburgh Penguins. He would be with the Penguins and his head coach in the 2014 Olympics, and then finish out with the Pittsburgh Penguins in 14-15 season. In the 15-16 season, he would go to San Jose and play with them the final 3 years of his career and going to the Stanley Cup Finals with them. Anthony, name this player.
So he started where? Because
he started with Jersey.
Okay.
Then he stayed with Jersey until 2010. He's a defenseman, and he was on the 2014 USA Olympic team.
Paul Martin.
See, that's why it's great. I have to do this because, well, there he is. There's Paul Martin right there. So, yeah. And the last one, look, this one really, I think this one might be a little bit tougher one for you, Anthony. By the way, thanks to the 300 of you that are still watching right now, guys. It's just been a wild ride so far. We still got a lot more hockey we're going to talk about in a second. But Anthony, let's go with this player. A bit of a journeyman. He started his career. Oh, I wanted to make sure he was. I just gave it away.
Yeah.
No. All right, we'll come back to him at a later day. Peter Holland was the guy. Peter Holland. I was trying to give you one that would really trip you up.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have. I don't know if I would have got that. I mean, I'm not sure.
Peter Holland was like one of those players that like people. I'm glad I screwed that up. I didn't want to have to go with Peter Holland for too long.
Yeah, Marc, certainly a Marc messed up.
Oh, that is definitely a Marc messed up. You know what? We haven't broke out the GIF in a while, so Marc messed up. All right, Anthony, let's go to blind rankings. Now, I had this one for you last week, but you ended up having to cut out early. So this is blind ranking goalies you would want in a shootout for your life. So goalies you would want in a shootout for your life. Your life's on the line, Anthony. Whether it's I don't know, come up with some doomsday scenario. All right, okay. You ready?
Yep.
All right, let's start with the first one. Dominik Hasek.
1.
Henrik Lundqvist.
2.
Chris Osgood.
4.
Glenn Healy.
5.
And then the last one, Ken Dryden.
3.
I guess that one's kind of easy. So
yeah.
How about this one? Because I had this one on there for Phil last week, Anthony. Let's run this one by you real quick. These are the players you would want in what I call the Charlie Conway situation. A shootout, if your life depended on it, to score the goal. Mats Zuccarello.
Oh, I was there for this. You gave him Zuccarello, Franz Nielsen. Yeah, Datsyuk.
Yeah, okay. See, I wasn't sure. You were all dressed up and looking very dapper. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, no, I got that. I got that for it.
Yeah, that's actually that one I tried not to do with like a little bit of a tricky situation on that because obviously there's too many good choices. There's just so many of them.
I got one for you.
Oh, good. All right, let's go.
If you're
I am ready. I am ready to do it, and I have Puckdoku ready to go as well, Anthony.
All right. I'm gonna give you top 5 New York Ranger defensemen.
Okay.
Vladimir Malakov.
4. He wasn't as bad as what Rangers fans thought.
4. Darius Kasparaitis.
5.
Darren Van Imp.
Oh, God. 3. Oh, boy.
Yeah. Roman Hamrlik.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I got to roll the dice and put Hamrlik at 2. Who's number 1?
Joel Bouchard.
Oh, my God. Joel Bouchard. Oh, all right. Wow. That's actually now even not blind ranking it, that's tough. I would have to go Van Imp at 5, Bouchard maybe 4, Hamrlik at 3, Kasparaitis at 6, and Malakov at 1. Like that's just oh my goodness.
You'd put you wouldn't put Hammerlick number one?
Well, is it them playing as a New York Ranger or them playing?
No, just 5 defensemen that happen to play for the New York
That happen
Rangers.
to play for the Rangers? Okay. Well, if that's the case, Anthony, that does change things. And I would put him I'd put Hammerlick at 1, obviously.
Now,
Hammerlick at 1. I think it might raise Kasparaitis. Kasparaitis' career before the New York Rangers was a whole lot better. So
can you identify what those 5 defensemen also all have in common?
Van Imp is throwing me off. Hold on. Islander. Van Imp never played for the Islanders, right?
He did. They're all New York Islanders.
Oh, wow. All right. That's the thing. I was thinking Flyers at first, but Kasparaitis never played for the Flyers.
No.
So, and I don't think Hammerlick did either. But yeah, all those guys played for the Islanders at one point. All right, because once it was Van Imp.
Thank you.
I know, Anthony. That is a great blind ranking. All right, Anthony. Here we go through the pyramid. 40 assists in a season. Who's your obscure guy? I got Mike Rogers as usual. Good one for this.
The first one's always the easiest because you could think of anybody that met the criteria. So,
Craig Janney.
Pick. It doesn't really matter. You want to pick?
Yeah, we'll go Mike Rogers. All right. Now 40 assists in the season and a former Philadelphia Flyer.
All right. Did Marc Streit had 40 assists in a season, right?
And I believe he was also he was obviously a Philadelphia Flyer, but that's
what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he had 40 assists in a year.
I'm fairly certain he did as well. He had 40 with the Islanders.
Yeah.
He had 49 with Montreal.
So yeah, you could use Streit.
And by the way, even if you want to get technical and say he has to have 40 with the Philadelphia Flyers, he had 40 with the Philadelphia Flyers the 14-15 season. So let's go with that one. So Marc Streit. And by the way, this is the Puckdoku pyramid. We've gone through the first 2. Now it's got to be 40 assists in a season of Philadelphia Flyer and 500 career points. Anthony, let's go to the next one.
Did one of my favorite Puckdoku guys, Doug Crossman, have 500 points? Because he was a Flyer, and I'm pretty sure he had a 40 assist season. I just don't know if he's at 500 points.
Just short, 464. 464. I do have a good name that I would like to throw out there for you, Anthony.
Who?
He's also the answer to one of my favorite trivia questions. Who did all the hockey scenes in the movie Youngblood? Peter Zezel.
All right. Well, hold on. Did Zezel also play for the Blues?
Ooh, good call, Anthony. That one came close, and the answer is yes, he did. Played for the Blues twice, 2 different stints. So we might need that one next.
You might want to save him for the Blues then.
All right. So what about? I believe he's got 40 assists in a season. Keith Primo. Yep, 40 assists with Detroit. But let's keep going at the moment.
What about Ron Sutter?
Ron Sutter started with the Philadelphia Flyers, and he had 42 assists in a season. So that gets him, and his career is 535. So that is the answer we're going to go with.
All right,
Ron Sutter. Because then, I can't believe I just did that.
Well, let's start over. All
right. All right. At least I know that the names I'm putting in right away. Let's not put his son in there. Or nephew. I can't remember which one is which.
Ron Sutter is one of the brothers with Brent and Daryl, Dwayne.
Yeah, who's Brendan Sutter?
That's Brandon Sutter is with a son of one of them. I don't know which one.
All right. Zezel goes right in. Right now, we're at 2 uniqueness, Anthony. We need all those qualifications and a Stanley Cup winner. So they got to be with 40 assists in the season, Stanley Cup winner.
All right,
Because
so
I know
this
they're trying to get us to say Doug Waite for number one.
Probably.
Oh, wait, no. Doug Waite was never a Flyer.
Oh yeah, I don't.
Well, he doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be a Carolina Hurricane to win the Stanley Cup. I know. Pete's probably in there.
Bill Guerin never played for the Flyers, huh? Right?
Bill Guerin never played for the Flyers. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony Amonte never played for the Blues, right?
No.
I'll
double check that, but I don't believe Amonte ever played for the Blues. Braden Shen actually would fit right here. Yeah. Because Shen has got 652 points, but you got to figure out another one. Oh, I know which guy they're trying to get us to say for the last one.
Who?
All right. If it's Carolina Hurricane, Stanley Cup winner.
Oh, Brindamore.
Former Blue.
Yeah.
Of course, we're going to say Brindamore. So we
Yeah.
can't burn Brindamore for that. Now, this person could win the Cup with either Philadelphia or St. Louis. Yeah. Willie's got it right here. And by the way, I saved your question for after we're done with this. We're almost going to go to Q&A in a minute.
Hold on. Stanley Cup winner. It's the Blues Flyer connection right now. That's messing me up.
Wade Redden could have been in the blind rankings. Oh my goodness.
Did Valerie Zelapukin win a cup with New Jersey?
Yeah, I think he won 95. I'm gonna double check that.
But he never played for the Blues though.
No, he never played for the Blues.
Yeah.
Just trying to think if anybody played for the Blues in the 70s that would actually have could have been on the last Flyer Stanley Cup winner.
What about Jean Potvin?
Check that one.
He won cups with the Islanders. He was a Flyer. And I know he played for a couple of other teams. I don't know if St. Louis was one of them.
287 points.
Ah.
Yeah, he didn't play for St. Louis. I had the Flyers up here. Flyers right now over 500. New York Rangers can't say that. Flyers won in the Stanley Cup Finals, and see. By the way, another trick out of this.
What about
they could have played. Go ahead.
Did Sergio Momesso meet these requirements? I know he played. I know he was a Blue.
No, he played against the Rangers. He didn't beat the Rangers. I'll double check with Sergio Momesso. He doesn't have 500 points. I know that one. Wait a minute. Oh no, darn. I was about to proudly say Terry Crisp, but he didn't have enough. Didn't have enough points.
You're on in the lieu of Crisp. You're what's his name? Rob Ramage.
He's gonna have 500 points.
Yeah, he played a long time. He was a Blue.
Two-time Cup winner. Oh my goodness, Rob Ramage, 564. But he needs 40 assists in the season, and he's got it. What the hell team is CLR, the Colorado Rockies? How about that? Wow. Anthony, talk about pulling one out of your butt.
Well, when you said Terry Crisp, I thought of old Blues players for some reason, and that triggered me to say Ramage. So you're part of that. with Terry Crisp.
Yeah. This can only be Rod Brindamore, right?
I mean, I can't
That
think of anybody else.
all right. Well, let's go with Rod the Bod.
I mean, Zarely Zalapsky never. No.
Let's check that one. Zarly Zalapsky.
No,
I don't think he's got enough.
I don't think he has 500 points.
Yeah, he doesn't have 500 points.
Did he play for the Blues and Flyers though?
He played for the Flyers. He didn't play for the Blues.
Oh, all right. Yeah, no, I think it's just Brindamore.
I thought about Gary Galley, and no, the Penguins traded him before he won the Cup with them. And it wasn't the Penguins anyway. It was the Flyers.
Keith
Boston. That probably. I think we're gonna get stuck. Yeah, I think it's just Brindamore. Keith Acton, 584 points. He did play for the Islanders, Oilers, Flyers, no Blues.
No Blues.
No Blues. And also no Stanley Cups. So we're going to end that one right there with Rod the Bod Brindamore. Let's check those stats. Uniqueness is 77. Chris Pronger.
Oh, Chris Pronger. All right.
Because of the Whalers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my buddy Pete right now, by the way, good to see that you're on watching again, man. Rob Ramage, a 1.1%er, Anthony. That was a damn good one.
Who else was there? Who else was above Ramage?
Brindamore, Shen, because he's the new one. Pronger, who would also be on there. Steve Duchesne is the one that actually is the surprise one. It's a surprise because everybody was probably going to mention him. Who did Steve Duchesne win the Stanley Cup with?
That's a good question.
Long time he was with
the Oilers. No, did he?
I guess he did with the Oilers. One-time Stanley Cup winner. I'm sorry. LA Kings, Quebec. Who the hell did he win the Stanley Cup with?
Are you on Hockey DB? It has a trophy next to the
Detroit, his final season.
Detroit. All right.
Yeah, that's why I was going, wait a minute, because he was a King. I remembered him in the Lindros deal. He never played for the Flyers, but I know I think he was in the Lindros deal. And then sorry, that he wasn't in the Lindros deal. It was Eric Desjardins. Then he was with St. Louis for 2 years. Ottawa, back to St. Louis. Then it was the Flyers.
Do
3 years.
Do the regular Puckdoku. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you try to do an only Rangers defenseman one, if possible.
Okay.
I like being.
Here we go. Classic Puckdoku for everybody listening on audio. It is a Hurricane, 20 assist season, and born in North America. And then on your y-axis is Vancouver, Boston, and the Anaheim Ducks. So this is going to be tough to do just a Rangers defenseman on this. But we'll try with that.
We could try it. All right. For first, you could start with for who are you typing in? I can't see what you're doing.
Glenn Featherstone for Whalers and the Bruins. That's an easy one to get. 95. He was with the New York Rangers as a defenseman.
All right.
Okay.
Born in North America for the Ducks. You could do our friend Darren Van Imp we just talked about.
Yep. All right. And his profile is in the Rangers jersey. Wow, how about that? 20 assists in the season for the Anaheim Ducks. And he was a Rangers defenseman.
Matthew Schneider.
Wow.
Right? I mean,
Matthew Schneider is definitely there. And I don't think Matthew Schneider was, though he was a Canuck at one point, right?
He was, but he never played for the Hurricanes, though, so that doesn't matter.
Right.
Unless you
North American.
Well, there's a lot of options for the Vancouver one. I mean, you could use Doug Lidster. You could use Brian McCabe. There's a lot of Ranger
Right, but we might need the born in North America. I'm just thinking America. So yeah, you know what? Let's use Matthew Schneider for the Ducks because there isn't many options there. So, by the way, everybody that's listening right now, this is what Anthony does to me in the text messages that we have that go back and forth. A bit of a Mark, come on, you got to get this.
All right, so 20 assists for the Bruins. You can use Brian
Pretty sure I
Berard.
can use Kevin Shattenkirk.
Brian Berard though might be a lesser percentage than Shattenkirk.
Who do you think would have less of a percentage? Brad Park, Carol Vadme, or Brian Berard?
I mean, one of the guys. Wait, who'd you say?
Kevin Shattenkirk, Carol Vadme, Brad Park. Brad Park is too easy. I think Brad Park would be too high.
I never heard of the second guy. I never even heard of that.
Vadme was the guy that was in the Brad Park trade,
and he had 20. He had a 20 assist season for the Bruins.
Oh, Carol Vadme. Never mind, they had 20 assists for the Bruins, and he had a 43 assist season
for the Bruins
and a 56 assist season. Yeah, we're gonna go with Carol Vadme.
Yeah, I never even heard of him. So I mean, you could use him.
Yeah,
I mean, Berard did it too,
but this is where we're gonna use Brian Berard. So we're still at a 0 with all this. Born in North America, we already used Matthew Schneider, but like you said, you could use Doug Lidster, but I think Doug Lidster is better right here in this one.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure he played. He had a couple big years. Dougie Lidster, we're still at a 0.2. We got 3 more to go. Canucks, born in North America. And then it's the Canucks, Whalers, and Pete, you'd be happy with the Whalers. And the Ducks versus that one. Wow, that just blew up. All right.
Use Brian McCabe for Born in North America Canucks.
Yes, I can. By the way, Brian McCabe, he came to Boss Krokers, and unfortunately, that's I found out bad news that night that he was texted. So that was Bugard. That's what happened that night. So I'm pretty sure I can pass that knowledge on. But
all right, so
friend of my friend Danny Huey's great guy. Brian McCabe, great story about him. He drove past a bunch of kids playing street hockey, and he saw them playing, and he came back and just dropped a ton of sticks to these kids. That's awesome. That's what the great part is, Anthony. When you talk about the legacy of Islanders that have played in this region and enjoy their time here, that's why we talk about them. All right, so we still have the Ducks. And the Hurricanes and the Canucks and the Hurricanes. So I got
Hurricanes.
That's a tough one. Pete, if you're listening, I could get you on that one. Oilers, more like Coilers. Steven's asking right now, please tell me what's going to take in the front office to realize this team is absolutely cooked and start over. Steven, if they're not realizing it right now, they are realizing it. Because after all, I keep quoting Rounders. If you can't find the sucker in the first half hour, you are the sucker. The Rangers lost to the worst team in the league twice in the last 2 weeks. And just because they were different teams. Yeah, Acton didn't play for the Blues. 290 of you guys still tuned in right now. Thank you all very much. Stay with us. We're going to do some Q&A in just 1 second. Anthony's challenged me pretty good on this one. Let's finish this out.
Did Stefan Quintel ever meet any of these requirements for the Ducks or the? Because I know he was a Ranger.
No, I would kill him. Like I hated the way he left the Rangers. I just always hated the way he left the Rangers. No, he played for Boston. and the Rangers, but not there. However, let's go with Curtis Lecision, who did play for the Rangers, did play for the Whalers, and Lecision did not play for the Rangers. I'm sorry. I think I was thinking Dave Karpa. But I thought he did. I bet. Dave.
What about
Dave Karpa played for the Ducks and the Rangers and the Hurricanes, so I could actually fill out that one right now. That's Ducks, Rangers, Hurricanes.
Who?
Dave Karpa.
Dave Karpa. There you go. All right.
And we're still at a 0.
So a Whaler / Hurricane and Canucks defenseman also played for the Rangers. So let's see. Canucks.
Matt Cullen was a good one. Willie, we're trying to do Rangers defenseman. Anthony challenged me on this one. Frank, thank you very much. And also thank you very much for the good comment. Guys, we exist to do this for you guys. Keep hitting that like button and keep getting us more into the algorithm. I got to get more shorts that are in here. We're going to have a lot more shorts that are going to be coming up soon. Jeff Courtnall, that was a good one, but we're looking for, again, defensemen. So
did
I think, for instance, Jeff Brown would fit right here, but he didn't play for the Rangers.
Jeff Brown never played for the Rangers?
Jeff Brown, no. 99% certain. And somehow Dave Babbage didn't play for the Rangers. He played for everybody. Marek Malik, that's got to be the answer. And we're done with that. I believe Malik is going to hurt our uniqueness score. And nope, we're still at a 0.
Yeah.
So how about that?
There you go.
Just like Mel Allen would say, how about that? Yeah, I did not. Rob Ramage, by the time he became popular, I didn't even know he was a good player back then. So
yeah,
hard to believe on that. But again, putting up. Wait, Anthony, what was the quote you just put up?
I didn't. I was hiding. I was getting rid of the.
Anthony, they got to tear it down. There's no way else to describe it. The Rangers have to tear this thing down.
Well, and again, I've often said that, and this is obvious, but fans think differently than general managers, coaches, and the Rangers, Chris Drury, look at it. They see 3 points out of a playoff spot. They say that we're still very much in it.
With 51 games remaining.
Yeah. So, I mean, although I will say I do think the Rangers should tear it down. I think their core is cooked. They've been together for a while now. They've had a couple of cracks at it. Similar to the Islanders, their core got to 2 conference finals back to back. Sometimes you just have to retool. And for me, with the Rangers, there are a lot of guys that need a change of scenery. So, I do think you need to trade Chris Kreider. I do think you need to trade Mika Zibanejad. I do think you need to trade Ryan Lindgren pending UFA. You might as well get something for him now. You're not re-signing him. Even like you said, Artemi Panarin has 2 years left on his deal.
Yep.
At some point, you look at where your timeline is and his age and some of the other guys in the team. So maybe, obviously not now, but if the Rangers do keep sliding this year and kind of sell, maybe they revisit those talks with Panarin in the offseason. But I think the Rangers need to retool their roster for sure. I think, sometimes you don't get over the hump and, you got to make changes to then try to assure that you do the next time you get there. So, but for me, I know it's easier said than done because there's no movement clause. But for me, it starts with Mika Zibanejad. You have to trade. You have to trade him. He looks like a shell of himself right now. He's just not good, and he hurts the team with his effort. You saw the back check last night in the goal. He was basically just watching, and he's looked slow all year. I mean, he's disinterested. You got to move him. You have to move Mika Zibanejad at all costs.
Anthony, and by the way, look, I understand they probably went down as an odd man rush in that play that you're referring to, but you look at that play again. Mika Zibanejad gets back. That's 3-on-4, but instead he glides back, and he probably thinks, "All right, well maybe Igor's got the save." Igor's no way he's going to stop that. Igor stopped that play, then he deserved $11.5 million. No, he deserves 12. Why not pay him 20? Should pay him 20. If the defense is so bad, they should just invest all their money in Shesterkin. Get used to it, guys. You going back to that line a lot. But Anthony, it's ridiculous. And again, with Panarin, if you announce we're doing like a soft retool, he doesn't have much time. Yeah, then that's the easiest thing to do. Just do that.
You can go that route. You can approach him, but I think it starts with Zibanejad. I think you move Mika. You move him. You get him to waive his no movement clause somehow. Maybe it's as others said. Maybe if you trade his best friend and Chris Kreider, maybe that triggers a light bulb to go off in his head and says, okay, this team really is retooling. They're going a different direction. Maybe I want to move on too. So.
I think if especially now that they've signed that ridiculous contract with Shesterkin, their biggest chip to play would be if they went to a soft retool or a rebuild. Then you look over to Artemi Panarin and go, where do you want to go? Give us a list of teams. We'll try to make it happen. Because if he goes on the market, you're talking about 100-point scorer available for a year and possibly, let's say, 3-4 months. That's a lot of value. That's a lot of value. And the Rangers should try to look at it because Panarin, he's getting up there. He's not going to be worth $11 million in his next contract. So, and here's the other thing. The Rangers without him, oh dear God. They looked horrible last night.
I mean,
by the way, go ahead, read it.
I agree with you. But again, I think it starts with trying to move Zibanejad. He's got to be the guy that sets the retool off. You move him. And
I think the guy that sets the retool off is Kreider because he doesn't have the ability to say no.
That's true. Yeah, because he's got the limited no trade clause. Yep.
That's a domino that then goes to both Panarin and Zibanejad. And again, like the guys have said on their other shows, Brian Leetch got traded on his birthday. Wayne Gretzky got dealt after getting married. Marc Messier basically was told to F off after going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, just no, you can't get emotionally attached. And it doesn't matter if I like the guy or not. And I do.
Yeah. The problem with I think Kreider and Zibanejad is, unfortunately, you'd be moving them at a time where their value is probably the lowest based on how bad they've been this year. So I don't know if you're getting premium assets for Chris Kreider.
I think Chris Kreider you still could, because you could. His value is goals, Anthony. It's power play and goals. And you tell me the Colorado Avalanche call, and they say to the Rangers, "Can you eat 50% of the money? We'll give you X, X, and Y." The Rangers jump on that, and so does Chris Kreider. Chris Kreider would easily take that. He's playing with Nate McKinnon now. Now his next deal is going to look great. After that, I guarantee Chris Kreider scores 50 goals, tapping in from Nate McKinnon, and never mind that, standing in front of the net for Cale McCarr.
I mean, with how he's looked this year, though, I don't think that's a guarantee. I mean, he looks like he can't even score 20 goals right now, or 25. He's
at 10 right now. Yeah, Anthony. He's going to score 20.
I mean, you see his efforts. He's not productive, really. He's got.
Change of scenery would really kind of give somebody a little bit.
Maybe a change of scenery does him good, but I think they need to move both of them. That's really the end of the story.
Well, Mika Zibanejad, I make the joke all the time. He's like Chief Wiggum. You look over and go, "Hey, so she's when Marge Simpson was trapped on the bridge back in like season 4 of The Simpsons. Oh, she parked herself in the car and won't come out. Did you try flashing your lights? Yes. Well, I'm all out of ideas." That's Mika Zibanejad. Hey, Mika, what are you going to do? I'm going to try a one-timer. And all right, let's get to what Willie says right here. And Anthony just went out on me. Let me go with a couple of these comments right now. First, we'll start with this one. I understand the encouraging information. Edmonton was 5-12-1 to start last year. St. Louis was 17-20-4. St. Louis fired their coach and changed their starting goaltender, got hot, and that's what propelled them to win. And everybody bought into everything Berube said. Edmonton last year had the best player in the game who was coming off an injury, and they fired their coach. I don't know if Jay Woodcroft comes in and changes things. I don't know if Bruce Boudreau comes in and changes things. I don't know if you can't listen to Peter Laviolette, honestly, change the room. And you know what? That's the thing. You got to get rid of the core, but you married yourself to this core back in 2020. Never mind 2021, the beginning of that season, when we first started being Big Apple Hockey. That was officially when the Rangers just said, all right, well, that's when we're going to go with what this core is. They signed everything, and now here you are. Now, going with what Leo said, I'm going to go for about another 5 minutes, guys. I have no idea what this is, so I'm just gonna get rid of that. We'll go with what Leo said right here. Usually, I would paint a person as a malcontent if they stepped up and said something like this. I'm on Kakko's side. This guy has been abused far too long by New York Rangers coaches and such. No, absolutely not. Kakko deserves better. And the Rangers should have given it to him. Just making sure everybody's blocked that doesn't need to be. Kakko, all right. Neutral Canopy, I think this is the first time seeing you. Welcome to the show. Okay, hear me out. Kakko, New Jersey for a third rounder. I think he can get better than that. Chris T is saying we all know Kakko will have a Zibanejad to the Rangers type of blossoming once he's gone. Yes. Yeah. Once you get a coach that has a little bit more faith in him, then that's going to change things. And the other problem with this is you got to bet on Dylan Cousins, and he's making $7.5 million, I think, 7.75 right now. And Bowen Byram, how many more chances is that guy going to get? Because he's everywhere too. I just don't see it. You think Chris Big Bear is saying, you think that's bad? My mother-in-law bought me tickets to the Rangers Kings game in March for Christmas. Expensive tickets too. Yeah, that's great. You know what? You know what? Go still have a good time. I'm going to be seeing the Rangers and the Islanders in Vegas next month. And that would be good. And it's still going to be a good time. I have to go to LA to go see a game, trying to go see a game in every single arena. Even though I've been to Vegas Arena once already, twice if you include in Guns N' Roses concert. This will be the first time exclusively for a Vegas game, and I'm going to be covering two of those, so I can't wait for that. Chris T saying he wouldn't be opposed to a Cousins Kakko type of package. That is $5 million in a raise, and we've gone through Dylan Cousins. Not really right there yet. Byram, I know. Byram, look, everybody's going to look at, in a way, Bowen Byram is sort of like the Kakko of defensemen. He's underperformed. Everybody sees the potential in him, and he's a 4th overall draft pick in the same year. Was it the Kakko year or was it the Lafreniere year? I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, let's gamble on it. Which I keep saying one of these days we got to do a video together on the best hockey movies of all time. I just been always busy on that. Mario saying Forbes says Igor Shesterkin has replaced Bill Gates as the richest man on earth. Pretty much. I knew the Mario, I knew that I would know that trade because that's a famous trade in Rangers history. It was Park and Rattel for that day and Phil Esposito. And I think there was still one more guy in there. It wasn't Ken Hodge for Rick Middleton. That came later. But that's there. And why am I still seeing this person that I blocked? But again, I'm on Kakko's side on this one. All right. Guys, let's get a couple more questions in. I'm going to start to play bye-bye. Again, my cousin Phil, gone now 13 years. But hell of a show today, guys. And to be honest, could have been longer. Would have been. Phil is playing a game right now. That's one reason why we decided to go earlier. This has been a rough one. And the good thing is because I watched Ranger Central stream, but whenever I always say watch Phil whenever he can do a final buzzer, but I do enjoy Evan's post-game talks, but it was rough. It was rough. You can see how rough it was. And that's the hard part about when you do the post-game stream, because you have to try to keep your composure doing it. And I mean, for one, I watched, I had to do one after game 5 of Rangers-Panthers last year, and it was just very difficult. But I'm looking forward to dinner with my wife shortly. Guys, and of course, make sure you are subscribed. Hit the like button. Trying to get our viewership up to get on TikTok and such. And yeah, this is a rough stretch for the Rangers, and Ranger fans, once again, I'm going to bring this up yet again. They might not win a game for the rest of the calendar year. At Dallas versus Carolina, at New Jersey, at Tampa, at Florida. Then in the new year, Boston and Washington. It's done. Team's done. And I feel bad for Peter Laviolette because, look, he kind of had this, like, anti-Rangers feeling with him. Or at least that showed up in 24/7. And then he runs one of their most successful season in decades, in a decade at least. We'll put 2015 in there, and then he'll be shown the door because his team just quit. The New York Rangers quitting is just ridiculous. Mike, that's a great question. Can Drury handle a rebuild? Because here's the thing. I haven't been on the train on development, but Jed Ortmeyer being involved in development, I got a question on that now. So everybody else started on that. I'm like, so what? Gregory Campbell was in charge of the Panthers. But State of Survival, thank you very much. It's great having you guys. And no, they definitely they'll get something for Kreider. Kreider's got playoff pedigree. He's got a lot of stuff. Chris T, the song is called Bye Bye. It was off the Plant Files by Phil Antonucci. I am going to make it available for download for people, but I got to see about making it available and how the rights are. And yeah, Willie, you're right about this one because this is so reminiscent of the 93 season where Roger Nielsen got fired. There was speculation that Messier was responsible for that. Many people speculated on it. I forget how the rumor was confirmed, but whatever. He was gone. Mike Gartner had a great season for the Rangers. He was their highlight. Mike Richter was terrible that season. Corey Hirsch played games for the New York Rangers. It was thought that he might potentially be a goalie of the future. Van Beesbrook, I think he had a shutout against the Flyers, or was it Washington, in like the last 2 weeks of the season. Brian Leach getting injured. And the funny thing is they were actually integrating some things like Alexei Kovalev and Sergei Zubov to be instrumental into them winning the Stanley Cup. And Adam Graves scoring, I think it was 33 goals that season off the top of my head. But it's just, it's funny. Yeah, no, and by the way, they didn't just miss. They finished in dead last. And then Mike Keenan came in the next year. They cleaned up everything for the playoffs. But by the way, everybody wants to, they're the people that want to say Mike Keenan when you talk about the Rangers, pantheon of great coaches. First off, this guy by the name of Lester Patrick. Let's not stop that one. And Mike Keenan negotiating his way out of town. Please. I don't want to hear it. But this is Murderer's Row right here, guys. So hopefully the Rangers can maybe find a way to get some wins out there. But like I said before, the Rangers, I could play the Rick and Morty thing, but I'm not going to. They need to get their stuff together. Guys, everybody, thank you very much for watching. We're going to be doing a special show on Monday because Christmas is going to be next Wednesday, so obviously we're not going to be around for that. It's either going to be Monday or it's going to be, I would say possibly Tuesday morning at the latest. But thank you very much, everyone. Well, Keenan had Messier in his prime. And Marc Messier, when I tell you pride kicks in, pride would have kicked in with Marc Messier. Pretty good numbers today, guys. 300 of you watching on Twitter, everywhere else. Thank you very much, everybody. And we're going to cut it here, and we'll talk to you soon.